Hi, this is Mark with Radiant, and in this tutorial we are going to do an actual screening. I'm logged in here, as you can see, under a mock account called Baker3, and I can see that based on this blinking little red text here that I have a pending assignment that's been sent to me by Dr. Freud. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my assigned modules inbox. And I see in here that I have a behavioral health risk assessment pending. This is what we call our BHRA-8 assessment. It actually screens for 8 different behavioral health conditions. I'm going to go ahead and click into this and actually take the screening. What comes up first, as always with any of the screening tools, is the informed consent page that lets me know that to the extent that I do this screening, and particularly if I screen at risk, all of my screening data is going to be transmitted through to my counselor, Dr. Freud, and that he or she will be in contact with me to follow up on my screening results. So I'm going to accept this and click the continue button. And this is going to begin the BHRA checkup, which in this particular case screens for 8 different behavioral health conditions. What it's screening for is risky alcohol use, risky drug use, tobacco use, anger, intimate partner violence, depression, panic, PTSD, bipolar, and it also asks about life events. For example, if I had any major life changes or crises within the past 24 months. It asks about my job and career satisfaction. It asks me to rate it. It also asks me to rate my marriage or relationship satisfaction. So this is kind of a broad pre-screen, and each of these pre-screen questions that you see here are validated pre-screen questions. In fact, there's an attributions list here which lists all of the questions and tells you what the attribution is, where they come from, and what their validation is. But basically, these questions are designed to determine whether there may be some behavioral health condition going on here. So let's go ahead and complete this. It should only take a client a matter of minutes to get through this. So I'm just going to go through very quickly, though. On the alcohol, I'm going to definitely endorse some of these questions here so that we appear to maybe have some issues. I'm not going to endorse drugs or tobacco. I'm not going to endorse anything related to anger or intimate partner violence, but I am going to endorse some of these depression questions. And I'm going to say no to the panic, no to PTSD, no to the bipolar questions, and I'm going to kind of say no and sort of bypass these last 3 questions around life events, job and career satisfaction, and marriage relationship satisfaction. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this, and you'll see based on the way that I've endorsed the questions that I endorse the alcohol, depression, pre-screen questions, which triggers the alcohol module to appear and the depression module to appear. And then it also automatically triggers the work impact module, which is designed to let you know the extent to which either of these conditions may be contributing to either absenteeism or presenteeism in the workplace. So we can go through and complete any one of these, but probably the easiest one to get through here for starters would be the alcohol module. So I'm going to go ahead and get into that. And again, the informed consent page comes up. I'm going to agree to that. Click continue. And this brings up, first of all, what is called the standard drink chart. The reason this is here is because the screening tool that's used for the alcohol screener is the 10-item audit screener. And the audit screener asks very specific questions about how many drinks do you have in a day, how many in a week, and so forth. And in order to sort of level the playing field, everybody needs to understand what is meant by a so-called standard drink. So a standard drink, if you're looking at a 12-ounce glass of beer, that contains the exact same amount of alcohol as a 5-ounce glass of wine and that in turn contains the same amount of alcohol as 1.5 ounces of 80 proof spirits. So it's just designed to let people know what is meant by a standard drink when it comes to the audit screener. So I'm going to go ahead and click the continue button, and this brings up the 10-item audit screener, which is probably the most validated of all the alcohol screening tools out there, developed by the World Health Organization. And again, there are 10 questions here, and I'm going to go ahead and answer these in a way that ensures that we screen in an at-risk range. And the reason that I'm going to do that is so that our database prompts us to go through what is called a brief intervention. So I'm going to go ahead and complete these, and then I will submit, and we'll get our score here. I'm going to go ahead and submit this now. And you'll see, based on the way that I've answered this, I've scored a 15. So anything 8 to 15 is considered exceeding safe use guidelines. 0 to 7 is typically within safe use guidelines. Also, the way in which I answered this triggered what is called the heavy or binge drinking alert. Binge drinking is considered to be 5 or more standard drinks for men in any one day, 4 or more standard drinks for women in any one day, and heavy drinking is defined as 15 or more standard drinks for men in any 1 week, 8 or more standard drinks for women in any 1 week. Another way to look at this is in this normative data here in the pyramid. It indicates that I've scored in a level 2, which is the risky range. About 9% of respondents to the audit screener will typically score in the risky range. 8% will typically score in the harmful range, and 5% will typically score in the dependent range. Another way to look at it is that only 22% of respondents drink as much or more than I indicated I drink by virtue of my answers. There's also some very brief but valuable information here for people who may not even be aware that they're drinking at risky levels. Again, this sort of reiterates what constitutes low risk or safe drinking. That would be no more than 4 standard drinks for men in any one day, no more than 3 for women, no more than 14 for men in any 1 week, no more than 7 for women in any 1 week. And then scrolling a little further down, it goes into some detail about what constitutes heavy or risky drinking. And there's a neat little interactive chart here. If I click this first radio button, what this tells us is that if someone engages in 1 heavy drinking day per month, and they do that consistently, 1 in 5 of those individuals will end up as alcohol dependent. If someone engages in 1 heavy drinking day per week and they do that consistently, 1 in 3 of those individuals will end up as alcohol dependent. And someone who engages in 2 or more heavy drinking days per week and they do that consistently, 1 in 2 of those individuals will end up as alcohol dependent. So again, this is some very short, brief, but very valuable information, particularly for people in workplace settings where there's a lot of absenteeism and presenteeism attributable to risky drinking. So this lets people know who may not even be aware that they are drinking at risky levels. Now, based on the way that I've answered this and scored, it is recommending to me that I complete the follow-up portion of the screening, which is the brief intervention. So we are going to stop right here and take up the brief intervention in our next tutorial. So I wanted to thank you for sitting in on this one, and look forward to seeing you on the next tutorial, which will be the actual brief intervention.